Speaking of that, do you think that's better or worse for our series? Jumping from right. Essentially we have mini superbike twins. Is that
Yeah.
teaching kids the wrong thing? Like, should we be on more of a stock bikes for Twins Cup?
Um, I if everybody could be on the same bike or a very similar bike, I think it would be amazing to be on the superbike build. But you know, also I know that costs a lot of money. Not everybody can be on that. Even anything close to that. Honestly, like I believe the Vance and Hines bike, the N2 bike, and then the Team ESO. Other than that, there was no R7 that was, half as built as ours were. And, I think it's hard to compete, but I believe I like when everybody kind of has the same shot at it and it comes down to talent. So being on a stock bike would be really cool to see.
So you think, would it have been harder for you to go from Twins Cup to Super Sport if the bike was stock, or you think it wouldn't have been much different? Like having ridden the stock one, you kind of know what it's like now.
I think the first year I would have struggled a lot more. Daytona, when I won my first race, really I would go back and watch that race and it's embarrassing. I was super slow through all the turns, but I was the lightest rider on the fastest bike and, was able to get a win just because of that. But the second season, I honestly think it would have been an advantage to me. I was racing against some of the 660s and they were allowed to do a lot more motor work and they handled really well. And so I think if everybody was on a similar bike, it would have been even more of an advantage to me.
So you like the more spec, you think like a spec series or something like that's advantageous for the sport?
Yeah, I think something like that would be really cool. Or having like, maybe even going back to a stock 600 class like they used to have. I believe it was the beginning of MotoAmerica or maybe the end of AMA.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we grew up on, but we were talking about that yesterday. It's just tough because, like
Entries.
The Panigale is stock, right? But you still got to do the
Yeah.
whole next gen kit. It's not cheap anymore.
Right,
you know?
right.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, you're starting out with like a $40,000 bike just from having to do all
that's true.
the cost of the bike and
I
whatever.
guess that really depends what happens with. If you take 15 guys out of Superbike, where do they go?
Yeah.
Right, and then you put 15 into now Super Next Gen
Yeah.
Super Sport. You could have a stock class that's
I mean,
a little bit more.
I think that makes then Twins Cup a little more appealing.
Yeah.
But it still goes back
It's
to
still
what you were saying.
expensive,
It's
though.
expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, dude, Super Sport bikes, they got to be 50, 60 grand
Yep.
to build them.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
they can't
for sure.
be. They can't be much. It's not.
Which everything's expensive now. What are those?
Yeah.
You might know the Kramers are like
30
30 grand or something.
Yeah. So, do you like the Talent Cup thing? Is that something that you?
Wished you had maybe or something like that.
I think it's really cool. I just think it's kind of weird how all of MotoAmerica is on a production chassis, and then you have those GP chassis, and it's kind of like.
But I feel like they're trying to make Americans here to go, not to go up their pipe with the Talent Cup.
And
At least giving them an option.
yeah, I think it's definitely an option, but it's so hard to make it in the GP. Those kids in Spain grow up riding every day. They have 10 go-kart tracks within an hour of their house and so many tracks. Like, honestly, to get in on a, even a Moto3 ride or a Moto2 ride is so insane, so hard to do. And, I know we've seen Joe do it, and I believe Max Toss doing really good in the European Championship. And Rossi Moor also, but like Rossi Moor and Max Toth, they've been online school their whole life, and they ride every day, and it's just they eat, sleep, breathe motorcycles, and I feel like you have to be that way from the time you're 4 years old to have any shot at being in anything like that.
Did you see Rossi Moore just break the track record at Aspar circuit?
Yes,
Is that
by like 2 seconds.
But
I didn't really get that though.
yeah, so but is it on because he's on a twin or because or is it is it the outright record? Like, how could he go much faster than Marquez on that stock Ducati?
I don't really understand it.
Okay.
I believe Rossi was on the RSV4, and Mark was on a stock V2.
Oh.
But still 2 seconds faster than Mark, and it was only a minute and then a few seconds lap time. So
RSV4 is it Aprilia V4?
Stock 1000 bike. Yeah.
yeah.
That track looks tight.
A stock street bike.
And
too.
that's what I was saying. Like on a small track, being 2 seconds faster than a super sport bike is still,
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
a lot. So
Wow. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
And I
that's
was
interesting.
kind of blown away with it.